I joke, but this is a really a serious subject, and I thank all of you for coming here. It's, you know, a very sensitive subject and very serious matter. So anyways, if we could, what is an active shooter? And I apologize for reading. It's been a long time since I've been over this material, even though I wrote it, but it's been years. Active shooter is an armed person who uses deadly physical force on individuals and continues to do so until he's stopped. Basically, if he runs out of bullets, or if he runs out of victims, or law enforcement stops him, or he decides to stop himself. A lot of active shooters commit suicide. They don't want to be shot by the police for whatever reason. Their desire is to kill without concern for their safety. You're not going to talk them off the ledge. They've already decided what they're going to do. Maybe if you know the person, you may be able to talk to them. I wouldn't risk it. Next one, please. I think that might be the video. No. Okay. Once he has opened fire, he or she has opened fire, you must take immediate and decisive action. Kind of like what Amy said, you have to make a decision. You have to act. You can't freeze. Freezing gets you killed, unfortunately. His goal or her goal is to obtain the highest casualty count possible. A lot of these young people that are doing that, it's like a video game to them. You know, Columbine, to them it's kind of like a bizarre game. They want to rack up a body count, and they don't even see their victims as people. If the person's not stopped, like I said earlier, they will continue to kill until they run out of ammo or they run out of victims. Next. These are the things that we need to know, and it's kind of like Amy's presentation. We need to know location, if you know that. We need to know a description of the person, race and gender, physical features, are they tall, short, tattoos, scars, purple hair, dreadlocks, type of clothes they're wearing. And for us, the type of weapons would be good to know, because I don't like to bring a pistol to a rifle fight. That's a losing proposition. Or if you recognize the shooter. Unfortunately, a lot of times the shooter is somebody that is known. It depends on the type of active shooter situation. If you have a situation where maybe it's a domestic situation and ex-spouse or something that they're there to take out, you know, their spouse, their ex or whatever, it could be a situation like that where people in the building may know this person. Next, please. Our response is real simple. The police department's active shooter plan is find bad guy, eliminate bad guy, and assist with injuries and evacuation. And that's our active shooter plan. Our communications will generate a My State USA notification, and I hear they're going to a new system. Gov. So, but that's still in effect right now, right? The My State. Oh, it's not.
No, we migrated to Gov Delivery.
That's Sergeant Dorsey. So our goal is to locate, contain, and stop the shooter or shooters. It used to be in the old days that we would kind of form a perimeter around the building, and we'd call the SWAT team to come in and take care of the shooter. Well, that didn't sit too well with a lot of parents when these kids were in the school there at Columbine, and the police are outside the building forming a perimeter, and poor children and teachers are in there being shot. And remember this, the shooter's goal is not escape. They're not there to get away. They're not trying to, you know, cause damage and run out the back door. They go in with an understanding that they're going to die. Next. We may order a lockdown, and I guess in different parts of the campus that could mean different things. So I can't tell you what that means for your organization. But the basic thing to know about lockdown is we're not going to lock you in a building with a hostile person. We're not going to lock you in a cage with the lion. If we know where the person is and he's in, say, NRB, we may lock this building down to keep people from leaving and obviously walking over there and walking into the shooter, or people coming over here. So, because we don't want the shooter to leave NRB and come over here and start doing bad things. Like I said earlier, our active shooter plan is we're going to go in and we're going to find bad person and we're going to try to eliminate bad person. We're not going to treat the injured until the bad person is eliminated, basically. And I know that sounds cold and callous, but you have to think about, once again, I think it's Virginia Tech. Cho was the shooter's name, and I think he averaged 1 fatality every second. So the old school was, to hide under your desk and basically freeze. And a lot of these active shooters, they study previous active shootings. And this guy actually studied that. And witnesses say that he went to a pistol range and actually put targets on the ground and was shooting targets with both hands. And so he actually practiced this and planned it. So that's why we no longer recommend you get under your desk and hide, because you're a sitting duck. Basically, once we contain him or eliminate him, however, we will assist at that time with evacuating people and treating the injured. Also, we will do a secondary search of the building to make sure there's no bombs or IEDs or any other people walking around, because sometimes there may be more than one shooter, as in the case of Columbine. Next. And that just kind of shows the cycle. We get the threat notification. We go to the point, we neutralize the threat. And then after we have a after incident response where we kind of talk about what went wrong, what went right, what we can do better next time. Next. Remain in your area, wherever you're at. If you're in a safe room, stay there. If you're out in the parking lot someplace and you feel you're in a safe place, stay there until you're told otherwise. You may be you may be asked to put your hands on your head, and you will be escorted from the building. You have to remember, at this point, we don't know who the bad person or persons are. All we know is that there's shots fired in the building. We have kind of a general description of this person. And I don't know if you know, people can look at the same thing and give you 5 different descriptions of it. So you can imagine, with people panicking and freaking out, we're going to get different descriptions. And so we're trying to sort through all of that while we go into the building. We will release information as quickly as possible. Please, when you leave the building, don't come back in the building to grab your keys. We know your Lexus is very important, but it's not as important as your life. There's probably going to be a staging area, and I don't know if that's something that WSP works out or if your agency works that out, but there'll be a staging area so we know that everybody's accounted for and who's not accounted for. If you're a witness, let us know. Let us know what you saw, because after the fact, we kind of, like I said, we reevaluate our response and we kind of figure out what went right and what went wrong. So when I get there to the scene, like I said earlier, I'm not going to be treating the injured, and I know that sounds really cold and really callous, but you have to remember, people are dying while I'm treating one person, who may have a pretty minor injury, or if it's a major injury, there's not a whole lot I can do by treating them. And if you can explain that to people, if you're in a safe room or someplace, if you can explain that, to just kind of try to calm them down and let them know that the cavalry's coming. Most of these active shooter events are over really quick. I think Virginia Tech was the longest one, and it was 40 minutes. And that guy, he planned it out. He actually chained the doors so the students couldn't get out of the building. So that's why that went on for so long. And I don't know if you remember all the controversy, but there was a lot of conflicting stories, and the police went into a lockdown, and nobody knew. The left hand basically didn't know what the right hand was doing. It was a mess. And like I said, once everything's over with, then we'll help with treatment and evacuation at that point. You guys feel free. You can help each other. I mean, if somebody's in a room with you and somebody's injured, if you can treat their wounds, that would be great. Things to remember, this person will not stop until their objectives have been met, or we stop them. And like I said, a lot of times they will commit suicide. Our goal is to locate, contain, and stop the shooter. Then we're going to help the injured after that point. Remember that help's on the way. Stay inside a secure area, out of sight. If you're in a quiet room. Don't do like when I did an active shooter exercise at L&I, people went into a quiet room and had the lights on, and there was a window, and they were in there loudly talking. And I was supposed to simulate a gun with my finger, and I shot all of them through the window. But yeah, not if you're in a quiet room or a safe room. I'm sorry, I keep calling it a quiet room. If you're in a safe room, be quiet. Turn the lights off and lock the door as best you can. And I guess most of these safe rooms should have locks on the doors of some kind of barricades to secure the door. I don't know if.
We don't have any safe rooms.
Okay. Oh, wow, okay. Well, we can help you try to identify it. I've done that for NRB and a few other places. We can, yeah. I know at L&I, I worked briefly at L&I. If anybody has ever been out there, there's a security desk there in the main rotunda, and WSP is there because people are so happy with L&I, but they actually have quite a few safe rooms at L&I, and they have locks behind the doors, and so I can help with that if you need any help. The thing for you to remember, if it's any comfort, the shooter knows his time is limited, and if you're in a safe room with the door locked, he doesn't have time to sit there and try to shoot the lock off or pick the lock or go back and grab keys or whatever. He realizes that help is on the way, and that's, we ask you to keep in mind that help is on the way. Just hold out. It's far better to have a plan and not need it than to need a plan and not have it. Try to avoid falling into the I never thought it would happen to me mentality. Your life and the lives of other people may depend on your actions and the actions of your fellow employees. Practice your plan. Know what to do. As they tell us in the State Patrol Academy, we don't want you blue screening. If it hits the fan, you want to kind of have a plan of what to do. Stay alert, stay alive. And there was a video, but for some reason it didn't. Did I? Any questions? I'm a well of knowledge, but I'm a very shallow well. Go ahead.
So, because this is a state building,
Mm-hmm.
I know that the state is different from the city.
Mm-hmm.
If we do need to contact WSP, is there a local dispatch number to contact?
911. Yeah, when you dial 911, I believe it goes to State Patrol first, and if they determine that it's a City of Olympia call, then they'll forward it to their dispatch. But something like this, we're all coming. Olympia PD, State Patrol.
I think the 911 number is, if you dial it directly from your office phone, I think it goes right to college campus. And then they'll contact.
Oh, it shouldn't. Wow.
It goes to State Patrol Dispatch.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say,
It goes right to State Patrol Dispatch.
yeah. Yeah, because you don't want to call our office because we're not in there. So, you get our receptionist who goes, what? Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I was talking to somebody from Medic One this week, and they were saying that they're starting to formulate kind of a new plan. Instead of not helping at all, they have folks who are sent into the warm zone rather than hot zone, but somewhat
Right.
warm zone to go
Right.
and help people.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Sergeant Dorsey didn't mention that to me. It used to be that the fire department and the aid crews would stay out of the building until we secured it. Well, now, say if the shooter's on the 4th floor, they will come into the building on the 1st floor, 2nd floor, I guess even 3rd floor, and help out with the injured and evacuations as well.
Nice to know they're willing to.
Yeah, that's really good that they'll do that. Anybody else? I know it's a very unpleasant subject, but unfortunately, it's the way of things nowadays. Yes, sir.
A couple of months from now, we might be looking at developing a plan in my agency for this. Would there be any issue trying to contact you to help us with that at all?
Oh, not at all. We'd be honored to help you. That's kind of what we do when I'm not out making friends. We kind of go around to the different agencies and help with the safe rooms and with the active shooter stuff.
Has there been an active shooter in the Tumwater area at any point?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
I